The quantum computer aboard the Earth fleet vessel Night Whisper detected the alien armada before its human crew did, not through any advanced sensor array or bleeding-edge detection system, but through the conspicuous absence of data. In a universe teeming with background radiation, gravitational waves, and quantum fluctuations, the perfect void approaching Earth's outer colonies stood out like a shadow against starlight. Commander Elena Torres stood in the Night Whisper's observation deck, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display, showing absolutely nothing where something should be. Most captains would have dismissed it as a sensor malfunction. Elena knew better. She had spent the last 15 years studying how advanced civilizations might attempt to hide their presence in space. Clever, she whispered, her fingers dancing through the holographic interface. Using quantum nullification fields to create artificial dead zones. But you forgot about the background noise, didn't you? The Night Whisper wasn't much to look at. A sleek, charcoal gray vessel barely larger than a pre-war frigate. But its true power lay in its neural network core, an organic quantum computer that learned and evolved alongside its human crew. The ship's eye, which Elena had named Atlas, manifested as a subtle blue glow pulsing through the crystalline lattices embedded in the walls. Confirmed, Commander. Atlas's voice resonated directly through Elena's neural implant. The void pattern matches theoretical models for Type A civilization, stealth technology. Estimate 67 capital ships attempting to maintain formation within the nullification field. Elena allowed herself a small smile. Humanity had only achieved Type I status a decade ago, and already they were facing down a civilization technically centuries ahead of them. But technical superiority didn't always translate to tactical advantage. Atlas, initiate Ghost Protocol Epsilon. Let's show them what happens when you try to sneak up on humanity. The Night Whisper's quantum core hummed to life, its crystalline matrices generating cascading waves of probability. To conventional sensors, the ship simply ceased to exist. But Elena's neural link showed her the truth. They hadn't vanished. They had shifted sideways into quantum probability space, existing in multiple states simultaneously. The alien armada continued its silent approach toward Nueva Madrid colony, their nullification field maintaining perfect radio silence. Elena studied their formation through quantum-shifted sensors. Their ships were massive, elegant constructions of what appeared to be living metal, their hulls flowing and shifting like liquid mercury. The technology gap was obvious and intimidating. But Elena saw something else in their approach: arrogance. Their formation was textbook perfect, designed to counter conventional warfare tactics. They expected humanity to fight the way they did, with massive ships and energy weapons and relativistic kill vehicles. They weren't prepared for how humanity had evolved its warfare doctrine. Atlas, begin quantum entanglement with the colony's defense grid. Prepare to receive tactical data from Ghost Fleet vessels Shadow Dancer and Quantum Whisper. Elena's fingers traced patterns in the air, neural link translating thought into command. And show me what our visitors are hiding under that nullification field. The quantum core pulsed, sending tendrils of probability through space-time. The alien fleet's stealth field was impressive, but it worked by creating a perfect absence of information. The Night Whisper's systems didn't look for what was there. They analyzed the patterns of nothingness itself, building a composite image from quantum shadows. Analysis complete, Atlas reported. Designated as the Azari Collective, their technology base suggests minimal innovation over the past 1,000 years. They've refined existing systems to near perfection, but show limited adaptation or creative development. Their tactical doctrine emphasizes overwhelming force and technical superiority. Elena nodded. It was a common pattern among ancient civilizations. They reached a plateau of technological achievement and stagnated, believing they had discovered all there was to know. Humanity, barely out of its cradle by comparison, had taken a different approach. Show me their command and control structure. The holographic display shifted, highlighting quantum communication patterns between the Azari vessels. Their fleet moved with perfect coordination, Every ship linked into a hierarchical network that would have been the envy of Earth's military a generation ago. But Alina saw the flaw immediately. "They're still using linear command protocols," she muttered. "Atlas, prepare to initiate quantum disruption cascade. Alert Shadowdancer and Quantum Whisper to move into position for Protocol Omega." The Night Whisper shifted through probability space, its quantum state fluctuating in patterns that would have driven classical computers mad trying to track. Alina felt the subtle vibrations through her neural link as the ship's organic core adapted and evolved its algorithms in real time. The Azeri fleet was less than an hour from optimal strike range of Nueva Madrid. Alina knew they expected to catch humanity unprepared, to demonstrate their overwhelming technological superiority in one devastating attack. Instead, they were about to learn why humanity's ghost fleet had earned its reputation. "All systems prepared, Commander," Atlas reported. "Quantum entanglement established with colony defense grid and sister ships. The Azeri remain unaware of our presence." Alina took a deep breath, feeling the ship's systems align with her consciousness through the neural interface. The quantum core's crystalline lattices pulsed in sync with her heartbeat. In that moment, human and machine fought as one, their strengths combined into something greater than either could achieve alone. "Let's show them how humanity fights," Alina said softly. "Initiate Protocol Omega. Let's make them question everything they think they know about warfare." The Night Whisper pulsed once, a ripple of quantum probability spreading out through space like ripples in a cosmic pond. The trap was set. Now it was time to teach an ancient civilization that age and technology weren't everything. Sometimes the greatest advantage was simply thinking differently. The real battle was about to begin, and Alina knew it would change the galaxy's understanding of warfare forever. The Azeri fleet's nullification field collapsed precisely as Alina had predicted. Their massive ships shimmered into visible space, a breathtaking array of living metal and energy that would have sent most opposing forces into immediate retreat. The lead vessel alone was nearly the size of Earth's largest space station, its hull rippling with weapons systems that could reduce a planet to slag. But the Night Whisper and its sister ships remained in quantum flux, watching through probability space as the Azeri prepared their opening strike on Nueva Madrid colony. Alina felt Atlas's algorithms shifting through her neural link, processing the flood of tactical data. "Their technology is remarkable," Atlas observed. "Each ship appears to be a single organized consciousness, billions of synthetic neurons working in perfect harmony. But their thought patterns are rigid, predictable." Alina nodded, understanding what the AI meant. The Azeri ships were marvels of engineering, but they thought in straight lines, unable to conceive of alternatives to their established protocols. It was time to show them a different way of thinking. "Execute quantum disruption cascade," she commanded. "Let's introduce some chaos into their perfect order." The Night Whisper's organic core pulsed, sending out waves of quantum interference that rippled through probability space. To conventional sensors, nothing happened. But Alina watched through her neural link as the carefully organized quantum states of the Azeri fleet's consciousness began to experience possibilities. The first sign that something was wrong came when the Azeri's lead vessel fired its main weapon array at an empty sector of space. The massive energy beam carved through vacuum, missing Nueva Madrid by several light minutes. More weapons fire followed, each shot targeting phantom images that existed only in probability space. Shadowdancer, Quantum Whisper, begin Phase 2. Alina transmitted through their quantum-entangled communications. "Show them what happens when you can't trust your own senses." The three Ghost Fleet vessels began their deadly dance, shifting through quantum states, faster than even the Azeri's advanced systems could track. Each shift created ripples in probability, generating thousands of possible locations and trajectories. The Azeri fleet's perfect formation began to break as ships maneuvered to engage threats that existed in multiple states simultaneously. "They're attempting to establish a unified defense grid," Atlas reported. "Their ships are linking consciousness to enhance processing power." Alina smiled. "Perfect. Initiate cognitive feedback loop. The Night Whisper's quantum core synchronized with its sister ships, their combined processing power generating waves of structured quantum noise. As the Azeri vessels linked their consciousness more tightly, trying to make sense of the impossible sensor data, they made themselves more vulnerable to the subtle manipulation of their quantum neural networks. The effect cascaded through their fleet. Ships began responding to commands that were never given, their weapons targeting phantom threats that their linked consciousness insisted were real. The elegant formation dissolved into chaos as vessel after vessel acted on conflicting information from probability space. "Commander," Atlas's voice held a note of concern. "The Azeri flagship is attempting something unexpected. They're trying to adapt their nullification field to counter our quantum interference." Alina watched through her neural link as the massive flagship's hull rippled, its living metal reconfiguring to generate new field patterns. It was an impressive display of technological prowess, but it showed they still didn't understand what they were facing. "They think this is about technology," she mused. "Atlas, prepare to demonstrate why humanity's greatest weapon isn't our tools, but how we use them. Execute Protocol Lambda." The Night Whisper's quantum core pulsed in a new pattern, its crystalline matrices reconfiguring based on the real-time analysis of Azeri response patterns. Instead of fighting the flagship's nullification field, they began working with it, using its own energy to generate new quantum states. The effect was devastating. The flagship's attempt to counter their quantum interference instead amplified it, creating a cascade of probability fluctuations that spread through their linked consciousness. Ships began appearing in multiple locations simultaneously, their crew experiencing multiple versions of reality at once. "Fascinating," Atlas commented. "Their technology is attempting to compensate by increasing the neural link strength between vessels. They believe more processing power will help them distinguish real threats from quantum echoes." "Which is exactly what we predicted they'd do," Alina replied. "Their entire civilization is built on the idea that superior technology solves every problem. They can't conceive of simply thinking differently." The Azeri fleet's formation had completely broken down. Ships fired at phantom threats, maneuvered to avoid non-existent attacks, and responded to commands that existed only in probability space. Their perfectly coordinated assault had transformed into a chaotic display of advanced technology working against itself. "Shadow Dancer, Quantum Whisper, prepare for final phase," Alina transmitted. "Let's show them what happens when you combine human intuition with quantum computing." The three Ghost Fleet vessels synchronized their quantum cores, their human crews and AI systems working in perfect harmony. They didn't need the massive neural networks or advanced technology of the Azeri. Their strength came from the unique combination of human creativity and machine precision, each enhancing the other. Through her neural link, Alina felt the moment when understanding finally dawned in the Azeri fleet's collective consciousness. Their ships began to retreat, their elegant formations replaced by a desperate scramble to escape the quantum probability maze that humanity had created. "Should we pursue?" Atlas asked. Alina considered for a moment, watching the Azeri fleet's desperate withdrawal. "No, let them go. They need time to process what just happened, to understand that they're not facing an inferior civilization with a few clever tricks." The massive alien ships vanished into faster-than-light travel, leaving behind only scattered energy readings and a profound lesson about the nature of warfare. Humanity's Ghost Fleet had just demonstrated that true superiority wasn't about having the most advanced technology, but about having the imagination to use it in ways your opponent never expected. "Alert Nueva Madrid that the threat has been neutralized," Alina commanded, "and prepare a full analysis of the engagement. The Azeri will be back, and next time they'll try to adapt to our tactics." "You think they can?" Atlas asked. Alina smiled. "They'll try. But that's the beauty of human warfare. By the time they figure out how to counter what we did today, we'll have already developed something new. Because that's what humans do. We never stop evolving." High Admiral Zexer of the Azeri Collective stood before the Council of Elders, his liquid metal ceremonial armor rippling with patterns of distress and confusion. The massive chamber, carved from a single crystal of quantum-stabilized spacitime, seemed to pulse with the collective disappointment of the gathered elders. "Explain," Elder Prime demanded, her form shifting between states of matter as she spoke, "how a civilization barely out of their gravity well managed to defeat our most advanced fleet." Zexer's armor flowed into the traditional pattern of submission. "Honored elders, the humans, they do not fight as civilized species should. Our analysis suggests they barely understood the principles behind half the technology they used. Instead, He paused, searching for words to describe the incomprehensible. They improvised. The chamber filled with patterns of shock and dismay. Improvisation was a concept foreign to Azeri military doctrine. Every strategy, every tactic had been perfected over millennia of warfare. The idea of deviating from established protocols was nearly heretical. "Show us," Elder Prime commanded. Zexer activated the chamber's quantum memory matrix, and the space filled with a perfect recreation of the battle. The elders watched in growing disbelief as humanity's ghost fleet turned their own technology against them, using quantum probability states in ways that violated centuries of established physical laws. "This should not be possible," Elder Theorist declared, her form crackling with agitation. "Their quantum manipulation techniques are crude, barely beyond theoretical understanding, yet they achieve effects our scientists claimed were impossible." "Because they don't know it's impossible," Zexer replied, his armor reflecting his growing understanding. "They haven't spent centuries perfecting the right way to use quantum technology. Instead, they experiment. They combine technologies in ways that violate every principle of efficient design. They allow their artificial intelligences to evolve alongside their organic minds, creating hybrid thought patterns that our systems cannot predict." In the recreation, they watched again as the human vessels danced through probability space, turning the Azeri fleet's perfect formation into chaos. What had seemed like random chance during the battle now revealed itself as an intricately choreographed performance, each impossible maneuver building upon the last. "Their ships," Elder Strategist observed, "they're so small, inefficient. Our preliminary analysis suggested they posed no threat." "Because we measured them by our standards," Zexer replied. "We looked for weapon systems, shield generators, power cores. But their true weapons are invisible. They fight with probability itself, turning our own certainty against us." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. For millennia, the Azeri had developed their technology along clearly defined paths, each advancement building logically upon the last. Their warfare doctrine was based on absolute certainty, the certainty that their technology was superior, that their strategies were perfect, that their victory was inevitable. The humans had shattered that certainty. "There's more," Zexer continued, his armor shifting to display new data patterns. "We've analyzed their communication patterns during the battle. Their ships' artificial intelligences and human crews, they don't just cooperate. They merge, becoming something neither fully organic nor fully digital. Each ship acts as both one mind and many simultaneously, making decisions in ways our prediction matrices cannot process." "Abomination," Elder Prime declared, but her tone carried an undercurrent of fascination. "To blur the lines between organic and synthetic, it violates all natural law." "Yet it works," Zexer countered, daring to challenge centuries of doctrine. "Their ghost fleet vessels, crude as they may appear, achieved effects our most advanced ships could not counter. Not through superior technology, but through creativity." The word hung in the chamber like a challenge to everything the Azeri Collective had built their civilization upon. Creativity was chaos, unpredictability, inefficiency, everything they had spent millennia eliminating from their society in pursuit of perfection. "They will come," Elder Strategist predicted, her form rippling with concern. "Now that they know their tactics work against our technology, they will push deeper into our space." "No," Zexer corrected, understanding finally crystallizing in his consciousness. They're already here. He gestured, and the quantum memory matrix revealed new data, subtle distortions in spacetime, quantum fluctuations that their sensors had dismissed as background noise. The humans hadn't withdrawn after their victory. They had simply shifted into probability states that the Azeri's rigid scanning protocols couldn't detect. They're watching us, he explained. Learning. Adapting. Every moment we spend trying to understand how they defeated us, they spend developing new ways to fight. We cannot win this war using our traditional doctrine. Then what do you suggest, Admiral? Elder Prime asked, her form stabilizing into the pattern of serious consideration. Zexer's armor flowed into a configuration that hadn't been seen in the council chamber for millennia. The pattern of radical proposal. We must do the unthinkable. We must learn to think like them. To embrace chaos, creativity, change. The chamber erupted in patterns of protest and denial. But beneath the outrage, Zexer sensed something else in the quantum resonance of the Elders' forms. Fear, not of the humans' technology or their tactics, but of the fundamental shift they represented. The humans hadn't just defeated an Azeri fleet. They had demonstrated that the collective's entire approach to warfare, to existence itself, might be fundamentally flawed. The real question wasn't whether the Azeri could adapt their technology to counter human tactics. The question was whether a civilization built on perfect order could learn to embrace chaos before the humans taught them that lesson the hard way. Dr. Maya Chen stood in the heart of Project Oracle, surrounded by holographic displays showing the real-time psychological analysis of the Azeri collective. The chamber hummed with the combined processing power of quantum computers and human consciousness, each display representing countless hours of cultural analysis, behavioral prediction, and strategic modeling. They're afraid, she announced to the assembled Ghost Fleet command staff, not of our weapons or our tactics, but of what we represent. We've introduced uncertainty into a society built on absolute certainty. Commander Elena Torres, fresh from her victory at Nueva Madrid, studied the complex patterns of Azeri communication intercepts. They're mobilizing their entire fleet. Our quantum sensors detect massive energy signatures throughout their territory. Of course they are, Maya smiled, because that's what their doctrine demands. But they're missing the real battle entirely. The central hologram shifted to display a complex web of quantum-encrypted transmissions spreading through Azeri space. Not military communications, but civilian channels, cultural exchanges, philosophical debates. The aftermath of the Ghost Fleet's victory had sparked something unprecedented in Azeri society. Questions. Their entire civilization is based on the principle of perfect order, Maya explained. Every technological advancement, every tactical doctrine, every social structure is designed to eliminate uncertainty. We didn't just defeat their fleet. We demonstrated that their fundamental understanding of reality is flawed. Admiral James Harrison, overall commander of the Ghost Fleet, nodded thoughtfully. And how do they respond to that kind of existential threat? Maya gestured, and the holographic displays filled with psychological profiles of key Azeri leaders. They're fracturing. The military wants to double down on traditional doctrine, building bigger ships with more powerful weapons. The scientists are demanding resources to understand our quantum manipulation techniques. And the philosophers, she paused, letting a hint of satisfaction creep into her voice. The philosophers are starting to question everything. Can we exploit these divisions? Elena asked, her tactical mind already considering the possibilities. We already are. Maya brought up a new display showing the spread of information through Azeri networks. Every time we engage their forces, we're not just fighting a military battle. We're staging a cultural demonstration. Each impossible maneuver, each unpredictable tactic, each violation of their established laws of physics, it all feeds into their growing crisis of confidence. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The Azeri weren't just facing a military threat. They were experiencing a civilization-wide paradigm shift. Certainty was giving way to doubt, order to chaos, perfection to possibility. But we need to be careful, Maya warned. Push too hard, too fast, and they'll retreat into absolute denial. Their military doctrine will become religious doctrine. They'll convince themselves that if they just build enough ships, just perfect their existing technology enough, they can restore order to their universe. Alina's neural link pulsed as she processed the tactical implications. So we need to give them hope. Show them a path forward that doesn't require them to completely abandon their identity. Exactly. Maya's fingers danced through the holographic displays, bringing up cultural analysis models. The Azeri aren't evil or aggressive by nature. They're a civilization that found one path to advancement, the pursuit of perfect order, and followed it to its logical extreme. Now we need to show them there are other paths. Admiral Harrison studied the displays thoughtfully. And how do we do that? By playing to their strengths. Maya highlighted specific patterns in the Azeri communication networks. They value efficiency, perfection, order. So we demonstrate that creativity and adaptation can serve those goals. We don't try to make them think like humans. We show them how human thinking can enhance their existing values. The holographic displays shifted again, showing a complex strategy web that combined military tactics, cultural influence, and psychological warfare. Each strand represented a different approach to challenging Azeri assumptions while respecting their core values. The Ghost Fleet's next engagement shouldn't just be about winning a battle, Maya continued. It needs to be a demonstration of how chaos and order can coexist, how uncertainty can lead to greater perfection than rigid certainty ever could. Alina's eyes lit up with understanding. We don't just fight in probability space. We show them how to dance in it, make them see the beauty in uncertainty. Precisely. Maya's expression grew serious. But timing is crucial. Right now, their society is balanced on a knife's edge between adaptation and retreat into absolute dogma. Our next moves will determine which way they fall. Admiral Harrison straightened, his decision made. Dr. Chen, coordinate with Ghost Fleet Command. I want every ship commander to understand not just the tactical objectives of our next engagement, but the psychological ones as well. We're not just fighting a war. We're midwifing the evolution of an entire civilization. The holographic displays pulsed with new data as Maya's team began integrating cultural and psychological factors into the Ghost Fleet's battle plans. They were about to attempt something unprecedented, using warfare not to destroy or dominate, but to illuminate, to show an ancient civilization that there was more to existence than the pursuit of perfect order. Remember, Maya said softly, watching the complex patterns of strategy take shape. Our greatest weapon isn't our technology or our tactics. It's our ability to imagine possibilities that the Azeri's perfect order never dreamed of. We need to make them want to dream with us. The massive Azeri fleet materialized in normal space, like a crystalline forest of impossible geometry, 10,000 ships arranged in perfect mathematical harmony. Their formation wasn't just tactical, it was a statement of defiance against the chaos humanity had introduced into their ordered universe. In the Night Whisper's quantum-shifted observation plane, Commander Alina Torres watched the display with a mixture of awe and sadness. The Azeri had chosen their path. Instead of adapting to new possibilities, they had doubled down on their existing doctrine. Their ships now carried weapons that could crack planets, shields that could withstand supernovas. They're trying to overwhelm uncertainty with raw power, she murmured through her neural link to Atlas. They think if they bring enough force to bear, they can make the universe obey their rules again. Incoming transmission, Atlas reported. The Azeri are broadcasting on all frequencies, using our own quantum encryption protocols. The holographic display shifted, revealing High Admiral Zexer. His liquid metal form rippled with complex patterns that Dr. Chen's cultural briefings had taught Alina to recognize as a combination of determination and regret. Humanity, his translated voice resonated through the quantum link. You have introduced disorder into the perfect harmony of space. We offered you the chance to join us in pursuit of absolute certainty. You chose chaos instead. Now we will restore order, no matter the cost." Elena glanced at the tactical display, showing the rest of the Ghost Fleet scattered through probability space around the Azeri Armada. 300 ships against 10,000. On paper, it was beyond hopeless, but humanity had long since learned that reality contained more possibilities than paper could hold. "Admiral Zexur," she responded, letting her ship shift slightly into normal space, a ghostly image barely visible against the starfield. "Before you commit your fleet to this battle, I want to show you something. A gift, freely offered, whether you choose to fight or not." She nodded to Atlas, initiating the protocol that Dr. Chen's team had spent months developing. The Night Whisper's quantum core pulsed, sending out waves not of disruption this time, but of possibility. The space between the fleets came alive with flowing patterns of quantum probability. But unlike their previous encounters, these patterns weren't meant to confuse or disorient. They were beautiful, a dance of order and chaos combining to create something greater than either alone. "What is this deception?" Zexur demanded, but Elena could see his form rippling with involuntary patterns of fascination. "Not deception. Demonstration," Elena replied. "You see chaos and order as opponents, locked in eternal conflict. We see them as partners in an endless dance. Watch." The quantum patterns shifted, forming complex fractals that embodied both perfect mathematical precision and wild unpredictability. Each pattern evolved into the next in ways that were simultaneously random and perfectly structured. "Impossible," Zexur whispered, his form fluctuating between rigid military patterns and flowing curves of wonder. "No," Elena said softly. "This is what becomes possible when you stop trying to eliminate chaos and learn to work with it instead. Your civilization achieved incredible things through the pursuit of perfect order. Imagine what you could achieve if you learned to embrace possibility as well." The Azeri fleet's perfect formation wavered as ship after ship reported their crews becoming entranced by the quantum dance. They were seeing, perhaps for the first time, that uncertainty didn't have to mean disorder, that perfection could exist in infinite forms. "Your weapons are powerful enough to destroy us," Elena continued, "but destruction won't bring back the certainty you've lost. Nothing can. The only way forward is to evolve, to learn that true perfection isn't about eliminating chaos, it's about finding harmony with it." Through the quantum link, Elena felt the moment when understanding finally blossomed in the Azeri collective consciousness. Their rigid patterns of thought didn't shatter. They expanded, embracing new possibilities while maintaining their core identity. Zexur's form flowed into a completely new configuration, one that combined military precision with organic adaptability. Perhaps there is wisdom in what you say. But how can we trust this wisdom when it comes from chaos? "Because we're offering it freely," Elena replied. "No demands, no conditions. Just an invitation to explore new possibilities together. Your civilization has spent millennia perfecting order. Ours has spent millennia learning to adapt. Imagine what we could achieve if we combined those strengths instead of setting them against each other." The massive Azeri fleet hung motionless in space as their collective consciousness grappled with this radical proposal. Elena held her breath, knowing that this moment would determine not just the outcome of a battle, but the future course of two civilizations. Finally, Zexur spoke. "We cannot simply abandon millennia of doctrine. Our pursuit of perfect order is fundamental to who we are." "We're not asking you to abandon it," Elena said. "We're inviting you to perfect it in ways you never imagined possible. Look at the quantum dance again. See how structure and randomness strengthen each other, creating patterns more complex and beautiful than either could achieve alone." The space between the fleets continued to pulse with flowing quantum patterns, a visual representation of humanity's offer. Not surrender, not submission, but evolution. The chance to become something greater than either civilization could be on its own. Slowly, ship by ship, the Azeri fleet's formation began to shift. not into attack positions, but into flowing patterns that mimicked the quantum dance. Their rigid geometry softened, becoming more organic while maintaining its underlying mathematical precision. "We accept your invitation," Zexer announced, his form settling into a new configuration that embodied both stability and adaptability. "Not as subordinates or superiors, but as partners in evolution. Teach us your chaos, humans, and we will teach you our order. Together, we will discover what perfection truly means." Elena smiled as she felt the approval of the Ghost Fleet commanders rippling through their quantum link. They had achieved something far greater than military victory. They had shown an ancient civilization that the universe held more wonders than their perfect order had ever dreamed possible. "Welcome," she said softly, "to the dance of infinite possibility."